Hi, my name is Mike Rutkowski, estate planning and elder law attorney here at the Rutkowski Law Firm. What are you doing in here?
Hey Dad, you're in my chair.
In your chair? I'm not giving up my chair.
Welcome to the Rutkowski Law Firm.
Michael, what happens when we actually think we've done estate planning to our fullest? We put it up on the shelf and say, cool, we'll need that, when the time comes. And then the time comes and you realize it wasn't done properly. First of all, how do you even realize it wasn't done properly?
Estate planning is weird in a sense that, or just different. It's not like buying a car, right? Like when you buy a car, you like drive off the lot and you know if there's like air in the tires and the engine works and all these things. Where estate planning, you're just hoping you did it right. If you had an attorney, you're like trusting in that attorney because really we're not going to use these documents till we need them. And then it could be too late. Either the person has passed away, or if it's powers of attorney we're talking about, they're now incapacitated, unable to make decisions for themselves. So like there's just a lot that we're hoping gets done right when we do it. Does that make sense? It's a different experience we all have. Like we all want to check the box and make sure we did it, but we won't know if it actually works until we need to use it, which is interesting, which leads me into the story. This just happened. I was in court yesterday on this one. It's been in court for a while. So we're like, stage 5 of all this, but let me set the stage of what's going on. So second marriage for both mom and dad. Dad is the one who passed away. Dad has 2 biological children. Mom has 2 of her own biological children. Okay. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. They were married for 20 years in their second marriage. So that lasted a while. Both kids didn't really have relationships with the stepmom, stepdad, but the mom and dad were happy and, all is great. Okay. So they do some online planning, thinking that they are checking the box on getting everything done. In this situation, it's a little bit more complex because mom and dad came to the marriage, each having their own assets. And when they each did estate planning, the idea they had in their head was, well, I want to make sure my stuff goes to my kids, your stuff goes to your kids, right? That makes sense. Right. It's a very common thing when people come together later in life. Very common. And so what they did is they went online and did some estate planning. And dad's estate plan essentially did this. He divided up everything 3 ways between the spouse and his kids. Seems really fair, right? Okay. Right. So what he did is he built some trust and put some language in there that said that the spouse could live in the home for as long as she wants. And if she passes, then it goes back to his kids. Again, a very common thing as long as you do it correctly. In this case, it wasn't done correctly. So what ended up happening was mom got some joint accounts and the estate is going to go 1/3. It went 1/3 to the son, 1/3 to the daughter. And the mom had this life estate in the home. So she could live there for the rest of her life, which has a lot of value because it's like a $400,000 house. And she can live there for as long as she wants to. And she also got some joint bank accounts. So she actually got a little bit more than 1/3. But what she figured out was that she could take this to court because of the way he did it. It essentially seemed like just the way he wrote it incorrectly made it seem like he was disinheriting the spouse. And there's something called a spousal election. Essentially, you can, if someone inadvertently disinherits a spouse, like without the proper steps to do so, the spouse can just throw out all the estate planning documents. And so she has the ability to get more. And so don't get me wrong. This is like greedy spouse feeling like she deserves more. Maybe she does. I don't know the whole story. Yeah. But at the end, she's going to blow up what he wanted to happen because he did it incorrectly. Does that make sense? And being that she doesn't have a relationship with his kids, she could care less. So now we're in court fighting. It's terrible. We actually are doing a really solid job. So our clients are the children of the deceased. And we're making some great headway on this, but like the family shouldn't have to go through this.
They shouldn't.
It's terrible.
How can people make sure that it's done correctly? What do they need to look out for?
So there's some steps that could have been taken that, when all parties are in agreement on this, like, here's a simple thing. The spouse could have signed off on it, and she would have. Like, that was the plan that they all came up with. But because those extra steps weren't taken, the wording was very vague and didn't spell it out quite the way that an attorney would. It just left it very open to interpretation, which then led her to go talk to an attorney who's like, hey, I can get you way more than that. And she's like, okay, sounds good. Let's do it. And now those kids and that mom, the stepmom, are never going to talk again. Clearly, I mean, this is just getting so ugly. And you know what the worst part is that probate is so emotional for every family. There are very few things that we take to probate that just don't tear families down. Like all the people involved just the other day, like, no one slept for days leading up to this. It's just such an emotionally charged thing that regardless of the money that it costs to go through probate, it kills me to see families go through it, and just the dance that happens at the probate court of like having to sit and see this other person who's kind of taking advantage of the other side. It's just, my advice to anyone is, like, keep it out of the probate court. Like, get this all figured out in advance, because if you could see what it does to your family to sit there in the courthouse and stare at each other for 3 hours while they're waiting for their case to be called, it is just heartbreaking.
If somebody has done estate planning online, or maybe they used another lawyer, but they want to dot their I's and cross their T's, what's the next best step for them to take to just... Because you don't know until, like we said, until the time comes and you need it. And then at that point, it could be too late. So
you could probably find an attorney who will, like, let's call it pressure test your estate plan, like kind of sit down with you. They'll probably charge you a fee to sit down for an hour and talk through, like, what were you trying to do here? Let's make sure everything seems in order. And give you some feedback. Not every attorney is going to be willing to do that, because they're like, these aren't my documents. Like, I'm not as comfortable with them. But that'd be my recommendation. If you just if maybe you've already done the online thing and you want to make sure that it's good to go, you could probably find an attorney, make sure they specialize in estate planning, go through the plan with you. And at the end of the day, they might make a recommendation that, hey, these are not getting done what you want done, and here's what it might be the fee to fix these. But you'll know, at least you'll know what your risk is, and what are the chances that this may or may not work.
If you would like to get ahead and ensure that your estate plan is done correctly the first time, please give us a call. We'd be happy to help. The Rutkowski Law Firm, and the phone number is below. Michael, thank you so much for your wise words. Appreciate you as always.
My pleasure.